My name is Ella Evans. I'm 33. Last Tuesday at 6:47 p.m., I was standing in the Plaza Hotel ballroom watching my father hand my sister a champagne flute worth more than my monthly rent, while he announced to 87 guests that I was too incompetent to ever run the family business. The temperature in that room was 68 degrees. I know because I checked my phone 3 times trying to understand why I was shaking so hard. Jennifer has what Ella never could, my father said into the microphone, his hand on my sister's shoulder. Vision, leadership, the Evans legacy. My mother sat at the head table in a cream Chanel suit, smiling like he'd just quoted scripture. Jennifer wore the diamond necklace Grandma Serafina had promised me when I was 16, the one with the emerald clasp shaped like a hummingbird. I'd driven 4 hours from Whitford to be here. My boss had given me the afternoon off. I'd bought a new dress, navy blue with pearl buttons, because my father once said I dressed like I shopped at gas stations. I'd practiced what to say if anyone asked about my job. Director of Sustainable Development. $300,000 a year. Managing 12 architects and 3 city contracts. None of it mattered. Ella works in... What is it, honey? My father turned to me, still holding the microphone. Something with buildings? 87 people looked at me. I could feel their eyes like pressure points. Sustainable development, I said. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. Right. He turned back to the crowd. Jennifer, meanwhile, just completed her MBA from Wharton, summa cum laude. She'll be taking over as Chief Operating Officer of Evans Properties next month. The room erupted in applause. My sister hugged our father. She was 28. She'd never worked a day at Evans Properties. She'd spent the last 6 years getting degrees while I clawed my way up from junior project manager to director at a competing firm. I left before they cut the cake. Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now and what time is it there. Let me take you back 18 years to understand why that moment destroyed me. I was 15. Grandma Serafina's house smelled like cinnamon and old books. She had this library on the second floor with green velvet chairs and windows that overlooked her garden. Every Sunday, she'd make me tea in her good china, and we'd sit there for hours while she taught me about the business. Property isn't just buildings, little hummingbird, she'd say. It's legacy. It's what you leave behind when you're gone. She called me hummingbird because I was always moving, always asking questions. My father called it being scattered. Grandma called it being alive. Someday, she told me that summer before I started college, you'll understand why I'm teaching you this. Your father thinks vision means profit margins, but real vision means seeing what a place could become. She showed me the original blueprints for Evans Properties' first development, a low-income housing project from 1962 that my grandfather had wanted to bulldoze. She'd fought him for 2 years to preserve the original structure and convert it into affordable artist lofts. I won, she said, running her finger over the faded lines. Not because I yelled louder, because I did the math, showed him the 20-year projection, made him see that beautiful things can also be profitable. She pressed a brass key into my palm that afternoon. This opens my safety deposit box at First National. If anything ever happens to me and your father tries to tell you who you are, you remember who I know you are. I was 15. I lost that key within a month. I'd forgotten about it until Tuesday night, sitting in my car in the Plaza parking garage, crying so hard I couldn't see the steering wheel. The first real betrayal came 3 months after Grandma died. I was 30. I'd just been promoted to senior project manager at Whitford Properties. My father called me into his office at Evans Properties on a Wednesday afternoon. I thought maybe he wanted to congratulate me. Stupid. Your grandmother left a will, he said. He didn't look up from his desk. You're not in it. I felt my stomach drop. What? The estate goes to your mother and me. The business goes to Jennifer when I retire. He signed something, still not looking at me. Serafina was very clear. She didn't think you had the capacity for this kind of responsibility. That's not possible. My hands started shaking. Grandma and I talked about the business every week. She was teaching me. Teaching you what? He finally looked up. His eyes were flat. How to ask questions. How to waste time on projects that don't generate revenue. Ella, your grandmother loved you. But love doesn't mean she trusted you with a $200 million company. My mother was there too. I hadn't noticed her standing by the window. Honey, she said softly, you have to understand. Jennifer has the education, the training. Your father and I just want what's best for the family. I have a degree, I said. I have 8 years of experience. I manage a team of— At a competitor, my father interrupted, which, frankly, shows poor judgment. If you'd wanted to be part of this family's legacy, you should have stayed here. I'd left Evans Properties when I was 24 because my father gave me filing work while Jennifer got to shadow him at board meetings, because he introduced me to clients as my younger daughter and Jennifer as my protégé, because I was tired of being invisible. I want to see the will, I said. No. My father's voice went cold. You want to challenge your grandmother's final wishes? You want to disrespect her memory like that? My mother made a small sound. Disapproving, like I'd suggested something obscene. I left his office and threw up in the bathroom down the hall. The rumor started that same week. I found out at a coffee shop on Northwest 23rd Avenue. I was meeting my old college roommate, Diane, and she had this look on her face when I sat down. Careful, like she was handling explosives. Is it true? She asked. Is what true? That you tried to manipulate your grandmother into changing her will. She said it quickly, like ripping off a bandage. That's what Jennifer told Marcy. Who told Beth? Who told me? I set down my coffee. It spilled a little. I watched the brown liquid spread across the white table. When would I have done that? My voice sounded distant. Calm. I wasn't calm. I don't know. Diane touched my hand. I didn't believe it. But people are talking. Your dad apparently has proof that you were pressuring her when she was sick. Grandma Serafina had died of a stroke. She was 84. She'd been healthy until the moment she wasn't. There was no when she was sick. There was only the phone call at 3 a.m. telling me she was gone. What kind of proof? I asked. Diane shook her head. I don't know, I'm just telling you what I heard. I stopped going to family events after that. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Jennifer's engagement party. My mother called every time, her voice thin with disappointment. This is exactly what your father means, she said after I missed Easter. You can't handle conflict, you just run away. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that staying meant watching them rewrite history, watching Jennifer wear Grandma's jewelry and pretend she'd been the chosen one all along. I didn't scream. I said, I have to work, and hung up. My bank account had $4,247 in it that summer. I'd spent everything I had on Grandma's funeral expenses because my father said the estate would reimburse me. He never did. I was eating rice and canned beans for dinner. I was buying discount coffee. I was wearing the same 4 outfits to work and praying nobody noticed. But I had my job. I had my tiny apartment on Hawthorne Street with the window that stuck and the radiator that clanged. I had my dignity. And then I didn't. It was a Tuesday in September. I'd been at Whitford Properties for 6 years, director for 8 months. I was in a meeting with the City Planning Commission, presenting our proposal for a mixed-use development on the east side. 40 units of affordable housing, ground floor retail, green roof system. I'd spent 3 months on the design. My father walked into the conference room at 10:23 a.m. Excuse me, he said to the city commissioners. I need to speak with my daughter. My boss, Robert Chen, looked at me. I shook my head slightly. I had no idea why my father was there. Mr. Evans, Robert said, we're in the middle of a presentation. This can't wait. My father's voice was pleasant, friendly. the voice he used with clients. Ella, could you step outside? I felt my face burn. The commissioners were watching. My team was watching. I stood up. In the hallway, my father smiled. I wanted to see where you work. Nice office. What do you want? Jennifer's getting married in December. Your mother wants you at the engagement dinner this Friday. He straightened his tie. 7 p.m. at Martucci's. You interrupted my meeting for that? I figured you'd say no if I called. He looked past me through the glass wall into the conference room. Is that the affordable housing project? 40 units? Yes. Jennifer's working on something similar for Evans Properties. 60 units. City Council already approved it. He met my eyes. You always were a step behind. Something inside me went very quiet. I'll come to the dinner, I said. He smiled. Good girl. I went back into the conference room. My hands weren't shaking. My voice was steady. I finished the presentation. We got the contract. But something had shifted. Something hard and clear like glass. Robert pulled me aside after the meeting. He was 52, gray-haired, kind. He'd hired me when I had 2 years of experience and a recommendation letter from a professor my father had never met. You okay? He asked. Fine. That was your father. Yes. He waited. When I didn't elaborate, he said, my dad used to show up at my restaurant. Back when I was a line cook. He'd order food and send it back. Tell the manager his son couldn't cook rice properly. Robert paused. Some parents don't know how to let you be separate from them. What did you do? I asked. I stopped telling him where I worked. He squeezed my shoulder. You don't owe him access, Ella. That night, I found a voicemail on my phone from a number I didn't recognize. I almost deleted it. I'm glad I didn't. Hello. This message is for Ella Evans. This is Marcus Holloway from Holloway and Associates. I'm an attorney. I represented your grandmother, Serafina Evans. I have some documents that may be of interest to you regarding her estate. Please call me at your earliest convenience. I played it 3 times. I looked up the law firm. Holloway and Associates, founded 1978, estate planning and probate law. Website showed a man in his 60s with white hair and serious eyes. I didn't call back. Not yet. Because if my father found out I was talking to Grandma's lawyer, he'd call it proof. Proof I was money hungry. Proof I was trying to undermine the family. Proof I was exactly who he said I was. I went to Jennifer's engagement dinner that Friday. Martucci's is an Italian restaurant with white tablecloths and candles in wine bottles. My family was already seated when I arrived at 7:04 p.m. My father looked at his watch. Jennifer was showing my mother her ring, a diamond so big it looked architectural. Ella! My mother stood up and hugged me. She smelled like Chanel No. 5. You made it. Sorry I'm late. Traffic. You live 12 minutes away, my father said. I sat down. The waiter brought menus. Jennifer was talking about the wedding venue, a vineyard in Napa. December 14th. 200 guests. She'd already picked out her dress. We want you to be a bridesmaid, Jennifer said. She was looking at me like she was offering a gift. Ella, I know things have been complicated, but you're my sister. Okay, I said. The dresses are sage green. I'll send you the link. She squeezed my hand across the table. I'm so glad you're here. Dinner arrived. Pasta, wine. My father ordered a $300 bottle to celebrate. He kept refilling Jennifer's glass and talking about the wedding, the honeymoon, the promotion. She'll be the youngest COO in the company's history, he said. Your grandmother would be so proud. I set down my fork. Grandma barely knew Jennifer. The table went silent. Excuse me? My father's voice dropped. Jennifer was at college the whole time Grandma was teaching me about the business. She visited maybe twice a year. She didn't know Grandma's vision for Evan's properties. She doesn't know about the artist lofts or the sustainable housing projects or any of it. Ella, my mother's voice was sharp. Warning. Grandma wanted the company to build things that mattered, I continued. Not just things that made money. She cared about— Your grandmother, my father interrupted, left the company to me, and I'm leaving it to the daughter who actually earned it. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. Instant. Practiced. I try so hard, Dad, she whispered. And she still resents me. My father turned to me. His face was stone. Apologize. Now. I looked at my sister. At the crocodile tears. At the ring she probably picked out herself. At the life she'd built on a foundation of being perfect while I was busy being real. I apologize, I said. We finished dinner in silence. I drove home and sat in my apartment for 2 hours in the dark. Then I called Marcus Holloway. He answered on the second ring. Marcus Holloway. This is Ella Evans. You left me a message about my grandmother. Miss Evans, thank you for calling. His voice was warm, professional. I know this is unusual timing, but I've been waiting 3 years to have this conversation. 3 years? Your grandmother gave me very specific instructions. I was not to contact you until certain conditions were met. He paused. Those conditions have been met. What conditions? She predicted your father would exclude you from the will. She predicted he'd give the company to your sister. She predicted you'd doubt yourself. Another pause. She also predicted you'd call me when you were ready to fight back. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Miss Evans, your grandmother left you something, but I can't discuss it over the phone. Can you come to my office? When? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. The address is 1847 Oak Street, Suite 300. I went. The building was old brick with tall windows. The elevator was the kind with a metal gate you had to close yourself. Marcus Holloway's office was on the 3rd floor, all dark wood and leather chairs and shelves full of legal books. He stood when I entered, shook my hand, offered me coffee. Your grandmother was a remarkable woman, he said. I represented her for 32 years. When she came to me in 2019 to revise her will, she was very clear about what she wanted. My father said she left me nothing. Your father has a copy of a will dated 2018. That document leaves everything to him and your mother. Marcus opened a folder on his desk. But in March of 2020, your grandmother created a new will. She gave me the only copy. She instructed me to keep it sealed until you contacted me. He slid a document across the desk, Last Will and Testament of Serafina Marie Evans. I stared at it. She left me something, I said slowly. She left you controlling interest in Evans' properties, 51% of the shares, approximately $47 million based on current valuation. He pulled out another document. She also left detailed instructions about what to do if your father attempted to hide this will or prevent you from claiming your inheritance. The room tilted. I don't understand. Why didn't she tell me? She did, in a way. Marcus reached into his desk and pulled out a small brass key on a chain. Does this look familiar? It was the key she'd given me when I was 15, the one I'd lost. She came back to my office 2 months before she died. She said you'd probably lost the key because you were 15 and 15-year-olds lose things. She said when you were ready, you'd find your way here without it. Marcus smiled. She was right. He handed me an envelope, cream-colored heavy paper, my name in Grandma's handwriting. She asked me to give you this, he said. I'll step out. Take your time. I sat alone in that office and opened the letter. Dear Hummingbird, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and your father is already doing exactly what I knew he would do. He's telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, that I didn't trust you. He's lying. I've known since you were 12 years old that you were the future of this company. Not because you're smarter than Jennifer, though you are. Not because you work harder, though you do, but because you see what buildings mean to the people who live in them. You see what I saw when I started this company in 1962. Your father sees profit. You see home. I've been planning this for 8 years. The original will is with Marcus. His office is at 1847 Oak Street, Suite 300. The copy I've left you is legally binding. Your father cannot contest it without admitting he knew about it and hid it from you. Inside this envelope, you'll find your 51% share certificates in Evans Properties, LLC, documentation of every board meeting your father excluded you from, bank statements showing Jennifer's salary for work she never did, a recording of your father telling me he'd never let you run the company because women like Ella don't understand legacy, a letter I wrote to the board of directors explaining my decision, $500,000 in a trust account for legal fees if you need them. Don't show this to anyone yet, not your mother, not Jennifer, not even Marcus until you're ready. Wait until your father makes his move public. Wait until he announces Jennifer's promotion. Then, and only then, show them what I've given you. You are not scattered. You are not incompetent. You are not the dumb one. You are my hummingbird. And hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backwards. They can hover. They can change direction mid-flight. That's not weakness. That's power. All my love, your Grandma Serafina. I read it 4 times. I examined every document. Share certificates with my name, dated March 2020. Board meeting minutes where my father explicitly stated I lacked the vision for leadership roles. Bank records showing Jennifer had been paid $180,000 a year for 3 years as a consultant while she was in graduate school, and the recording. I plugged in the small USB drive Marcus had included. My father's voice came through my headphones, clear and cold. Mother, Ella doesn't understand what it takes to run this business. She's too emotional, too scattered. Women like her don't understand legacy. They understand feelings. Dear Grandma's voice, thin but firm. Women like her built this company, Stephen. You built it. Ella would destroy it within 5 years. I sat in that office for 47 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I felt something click into place like a lock turning. Marcus came back in. You okay? My father is announcing Jennifer's promotion at her graduation party, next Saturday, at the Plaza Hotel. Will you be there? Yes. He nodded. I'll be there too, in case you need me. The week before Jennifer's party, my father called. He wanted me to help set up, arrange flowers, greet guests, be useful. I'll be there, I said. On time, Ella. Your sister deserves that. I hung up and looked at the share certificates on my kitchen table. 51%. Controlling interest. The legal right to fire the current CEO and appoint a new one. The legal right to reclaim everything Grandma had built. Saturday arrived cold and clear. I wore the navy dress with the pearl buttons. I drove to the Plaza Hotel and parked in the garage at 5:30 p.m. The party started at 6. The ballroom was decorated in white and gold. Jennifer had hired an event planner, a photographer, a string quartet. The guest list included every major player in the city's real estate development scene. Board members from Evans Properties, city council representatives, investors. My father had turned my sister's graduation party into a corporate coronation. I found my seat at table 7. Not the family table, not the board members' table. Table 7, in the back, with cousins I hadn't seen in 5 years, and my mother's college roommate. Marcus Holloway sat 3 tables away. He caught my eye and nodded once. At 6:47 p.m., my father took the microphone. Thank you all for coming tonight. We're here to celebrate my daughter Jennifer, who just completed her MBA from Wharton, summa cum laude. He paused for applause. But we're also here to celebrate the future of Evans Properties. Jennifer stood up, radiant in a white dress. My mother beamed. As many of you know, my mother, Serafina Evans, founded this company 62 years ago. She built it from nothing into one of the most successful property development firms in the state. My father's voice swelled with pride. When she passed 3 years ago, she entrusted me with her legacy. And tonight, I'm honored to announce that I'm entrusting that legacy to Jennifer. More applause. Jennifer hugged him. Jennifer will be taking over as Chief Operating Officer, effective immediately. And when I retire in 2 years, she'll become CEO. He looked directly at me across the room. Some people are born to lead. Jennifer is one of them. She has vision. She has education. She has the Evans legacy in her blood. He raised his champagne glass. To Jennifer, and to the future. 87 people raised their glasses. I didn't. I stood up. My father frowned. Ella, we're in the middle of. I have something to say. My voice was calm, clear. I was surprised how steady it sounded. This isn't the time. My mother's face went pale. It's exactly the time. I walked toward the front of the room. Marcus stood up too. Dad, you said Grandma Serafina left her legacy to you. You said she trusted you to choose the future of Evans Properties. That's right. He set down the microphone, but his voice carried. And I've chosen Jennifer. Based on what authority? He laughed, short, dismissive. Based on being her son. Based on inheriting the company. Based on a will dated 2018. I reached into my purse and pulled out the documents. My hands didn't shake. But Grandma wrote a new will in March of 2020, 14 months before she died. The room went silent. Jennifer's smile faltered. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the will Grandma gave to her attorney, Marcus Holloway, with instructions to keep it sealed until the right moment. I looked at Marcus. He walked up to join me, carrying his own folder. My father's face changed, color drained, jaw tightened. That's impossible, he said. I would have been notified. You were notified. Marcus's voice was professional, calm. Mrs. Evans sent you a letter on March 15th, 2020, informing you of the change to her estate plan. You signed for it. I have the receipt. He placed the receipt on the table. My father's signature, clear as daylight. I never received any letter, my father said, but his voice wavered. You received it at your office, Marcus continued. You signed for it personally, and then you hid it. Because the new will left 51% controlling interest in Evans Properties to Ella. The gasps were audible. Jennifer grabbed the back of a chair. My mother covered her mouth. That's absurd. My father's voice rose. Why would my mother leave the company to Ella? She has no experience. She works for a competitor. She's completely unqualified. I'm the director of sustainable development at Whitford Properties, I said quietly. I manage 12 architects. I oversee 3 city contracts worth a combined $14 million. I've increased sustainable housing development in this city by 34% in 3 years. And Grandma knew that because I told her about every project, every success, every failure. I pulled out the share certificates. These are dated March 12, 2020. Grandma's signature, notarized, filed with the state. 51% of Evans Properties LLC belongs to me. My father lunged forward. Those are forged. This is some kind of scheme she's cooked up with this lawyer to... Mr. Evans, Marcus's voice cut through. I've been a licensed attorney for 38 years. I have no interest in participating in fraud. These documents are authentic. Your mother was of sound mind when she executed this will, and she specifically anticipated you would try to claim otherwise. He pulled out a small recording device and pressed play. Grandma's voice filled the ballroom, thin but unmistakable. Marcus, I'm recording this on March 10th, 2020, as additional proof of my intentions. I am of sound mind and body. I am not being coerced. I am making this change because my son Stephen does not share my values for this company. He sees buildings as investments. My granddaughter Ella sees them as homes. I trust her to carry forward what I built. If Stephen tries to claim I was incompetent or confused, I want this recording to be submitted as evidence. I knew exactly what I was doing. Silence. My father looked around the room, at the board members, at the investors, at Jennifer, who was crying real tears now, not the practiced kind. "This is a betrayal," he said finally. His voice shook. "My own mother betrayed me for someone who couldn't even be bothered to visit her in the hospital." "Grandma died of a stroke," I said. "There was no hospital. She was gone within 3 hours. I was there. You weren't. You were in Seattle at a conference. You manipulated her." He was shouting now. "You made her think I was a bad son. You poisoned her against Jennifer. This whole thing is Grandma's choice." I met his eyes. "She knew you'd do this. She predicted every move. She wrote it all down in a letter she left me, including the part where you told her I was too emotional and scattered to run the company. Too much like a woman who understands feelings instead of legacy." I pulled out the USB drive. "She recorded that conversation. Would you like me to play it?" My father's face went from red to white. He looked at the board members, at Marcus, at me. "You have no idea what you're doing," he said quietly. "You'll destroy everything." "No," I said. "I'll build what Grandma actually wanted: sustainable housing, mixed-use developments that serve communities, projects that matter." I paused. "You can stay on as CEO for now, but you answer to me. And Jennifer doesn't get a promotion she didn't earn." Jennifer made a choking sound. My mother was crying. The room buzzed with whispers. I turned to the board members. "I'll be scheduling a formal meeting this week to review current projects and financial statements. I expect full transparency." I looked at my father. "If you've been hiding anything else, now would be the time to come clean." I picked up the documents and walked out. Marcus followed me to the parking garage. "That went better than I expected." "Did it?" My hands were shaking now. Adrenaline crash. "You stayed calm. You presented facts. You didn't gloat." He handed me his card. "Call me Monday. We'll schedule that board meeting." "And Miss Evans?" "Yes?" "Your grandmother would be very proud." I drove home and sat in my apartment for 3 hours, holding the letter, reading it over and over. "You are not scattered. You are not incompetent. You are not the dumb one." The fallout was immediate and brutal. My father tried to contest the will. His lawyer withdrew after 1 week when he saw the evidence. Jennifer stopped speaking to me. My mother called twice, crying, begging me to think about the family. "I am thinking about the family," I told her. "I'm thinking about the family Grandma built, the one that meant something." The board meeting happened on Wednesday. I walked in with Marcus, with my share certificates, with Grandma's letter to the board explaining her decision. My father sat at the head of the table. He didn't look at me. I presented my vision for Evans Properties: sustainable development, affordable housing partnerships, green building initiatives, a return to Grandma's founding principles. 3 board members resigned, 2 because they were my father's cronies, 1 because he said he couldn't work for someone so young. 4 board members stayed. They'd known Grandma. They remembered what she'd wanted. We voted. I was now the majority shareholder and acting chair of the board. My father remained CEO, but with strict oversight. Within 2 months, Jennifer left the company. She took a job at a consulting firm in New York. My mother followed her. My father stayed. We don't speak unless necessary. Board meetings are excruciating. But he does his job, and I do mine. Last week, I went to Grandma's grave. The headstone is simple gray granite with her name and dates. Someone had left fresh flowers, probably the gardener at the cemetery. I sat on the grass and told her about the East Side project we'd just approved. 60 units of affordable housing with solar panels and a community garden. The project she'd sketched out 15 years ago and my father had buried in a file cabinet. "We're building it, Grandma," I said. "Exactly how you drew it." The wind moved through the trees. I swear I smelled cinnamon. It's been 8 months since the Plaza Hotel. I'm 33 years old. I live in a two-bedroom apartment with a view of the city. I have a cat named Hummingbird. On my desk at work, I keep a photograph of Grandma in her library with those green velvet chairs. I'm not happy every day. Some days I miss having a family that speaks to me. Some days I wonder if it was worth it. But then I drive past the artist lofts Grandma built in 1965, or the affordable housing project that just broke ground, or the community center we donated in her name. And I remember what she told me when I was 15. Legacy isn't about who remembers your name, it's about what you leave behind that makes life better for people who'll never know you existed. I'm building that legacy now. Not for my father, not for Jennifer, for Grandma, and for every person who was ever called scattered or emotional, or too much like someone who understands feelings. If you're watching this, and someone in your family has ever made you feel like you're not enough, I want you to do something for me. Type "I am enough" in the comments. Or if you're still fighting to believe it, type "I'm learning." Both are true, both are brave. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Thank you for being here.